Hello there, you're watching Youth Focus on Direct 24 and I'm Henriquet Mugabo in Nairobi. I want to welcome all our viewers in Nairobi and around the world. This program aims at bringing youths together to discuss on different issues in business, sports, politics, and social life. But first, here are today's headlines. Canada caught up in the war between the US and China over the arrest of Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou. DRC Election Commission building on blaze after fire broke out. UN has condemned acts of violence ahead of December 23rd election day. Another step in the Mars exploration as NASA's InSight spacecraft lands on Mars safely. This spacecraft is on a mission to discover and study the inner space of Mars. On August 8, DRC's current president Joseph Kabila announced that he wouldn't be running for the presidential seat supposed to be held on 23rd of this month. Joseph Kabila took office after the death of his father, the then president Laurent Désiré Kabila. Joseph Kabila took office in 2001 at age 29 and he served as president for almost 18 years now. From the foreign and local actors with violence in the DRC, Joseph Kabila announced that he wouldn't be running again for president in the 2018 election, and he's not allowed to run for a third consecutive term. However, in an interview, he suggested that he would not rule out running again in the future. Thursday, 13th of this month, fire broke out in the Electoral Commission building, burning 80% of equipment that were to be used in the election. And as we wait, the United States of America has called for non-emergency staff to exit the country, fearing that there will be election violence. I want to open this discussion on this topic. What can we as the youth change in the African leadership? Please share your views on our social media on Twitter at mhenriquet_24 or direct24 and send us your SMS on 0770 30 55 15. On to the first comment on today's topic. What can we as the youth change in the African leadership? At Charles_Omondi says, African leaders are the first to learn that leadership is about being responsible and respect the law that govern them. Keep on sending us your opinions on our social media at mhenriquet_24 or at direct24 and through SMS 0770 30 55 15. The question again is, what can we as the youth change in the African leadership? With that, I want to welcome our correspondent, Sophia Pondo, who will take us through the feature of today.
Sanctions have become a big deal in the international business news as America and China are in a trade war. But what do Kenyans think on sanctions that are limiting us to produce our own goods? In Gikomba Market, where many people from different parts of East Africa come to do their shopping, the Kenyan clothing industry is suffering as more people are purchasing foreign second-hand clothes instead of consuming the products manufactured locally, and try to stop it might come with sanctions that will hurt the country's economy. Such actions were seen in our neighboring country Rwanda, as they are facing US sanctions for limiting imports and sale of used clothes, but Rwanda's government seemed not willing to back off from that decision. We talked to some of the customers and business owners to hear their opinion on this issue.
The African market, the African people. Yeah, because if I remember when I was small, before we had these things, you would see even someone putting patched clothes, because now I think it was very expensive for us now from our industries. But now when these ones came, they were a bit cheaper. So it is like it cleaned people. It cleaned people's lives. So now you can pay, you say everyone is smart, clean, in their own way, even if they are second hand. Yeah, and we are here.
Thank you, Sophie, for that report. And I want to hear your opinion on this issue, as I believe that it affects all Kenyans and the economy. And at some point in life, we have all consumed the second-hand products. Can you please give me your opinion on it?
Yes, Henrik. Second-hand clothes and the importation will affect Kenyans in a massive way because, as we normally see, it's not just with the clothes, but anything that is written made in Kenya, people run away from it. They prefer foreign imports and treat them like of a higher quality, or the nouveau rich think that anything that is not made in Kenya is something that they can trust. That is why the sanctions will be able to help us support local market, support local goods, especially supporting local clothes.
Thank you, Sophia Pondo, for that reporting on that important issue, and we'll be back with more on today's topic of discussion. What can we ask the youth change in African leadership is tonight's question. And through SMS, Michael Fundi says, "We are the future of Africa. We are the change that is needed, so let's not carry through the steps of our bad leaders." For deep discussion on today's topic, we are joined by three opinion leaders. Welcome to you. Without taking long, I want to start by asking you, what are your thoughts on democracy in African countries?
Well, thank you, Henrik, for having me. First of all, I would begin by posing a disclaimer that democracy and the issue of democracy has been one of the hardest questions to respond when it comes to African states. And the reason I'm saying this is because from what I know democracy as is not what I've witnessed in most of the African states. From me and where I sit, my take on democracy is a rule that's by majority and of course through the elected. That of course happens occasionally and within an agreed upon time. And for example, I'll take a case study of the recent, or rather the current DRC Congo happenings, you know. After Kabila staying in power for 18 years, and now they're going for an election. I think there's no democracy in that, because even after this long time of leadership, I am sure since this guy has got all machinery and government machinery in his hands, chances are that he's going to manipulate the elections or even the election results to be in his favor. And you can't tell me the people of DRC Congo will have, you know, made their rightful choice, because fine, they will go to the ballot and vote, but at the at the announcement of the results, they are going to receive totally different thing, you know, results that have been massaged. Let's even come back to my country in Kenya. You know, we've witnessed democracy being abused in broad daylight, where Kenyans go out there to vote, but the results are massaged, where human rights are not respected, where human rights are not given the due, you know, regard they should be treated with, where people, a few people and citizens are able to buy their way through the courts. They're able to get out, you know, and get away with crimes, money laundering, you know, stolen public resources through the courts. And so I can really say democracy for me, in my own opinion, has really been a hard thing for African states. And the question that I keep asking myself, are we becoming more democratic, or are we getting less democratic? Because this country, to tell you the truth, and according to my opinion, is run by just a few clique of Kenyans, you know, who have the means of production within them. And so for me, democracy in Africa has been the most abused. And I think this generation should not really fight and struggle for democracy. I think democracy is an issue that will be entrenched, will better be in, will be entrenched more in the generations to come. That's my take, Mr. Henry.
Thank you for that. On social media, one mentioned that the youth is the future of Africa, and I want to start by asking, How can we as the youth take control of bring change in the leadership in Africa?
It's a very good question. If you look at the demographics of Africa, many of the composition is made of young people. Many of the people who vote are young people. So more or less the gear and the key to change is within the hands of many young people. But the question will be, are these young people interested in bringing on that challenge? Every often when we are taught of our history, we are taught of the role the young people played in as far as attaining independence in the African continent is concerned. But are the young people of today equally prepared to take the task and challenge that and bring a change? I think that is the question that will need to be answered by young people. But yes, due to the populous nature of the young people, they stand a chance to bring change in the African continent.
Well, we all agree that solutions are not easy to come up with, and it needs more than ideas in order to grow from one point to another. You're a leader of a group. What can you advise young people who seek to be leaders in the future?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to give this word of advice to fellow youth. I think one, we must believe in ourselves as young people, that we actually have the skills and the drive to be able to take our continent to the next level, and just like them to move away from what we've always been told as the youth, that we're the leaders of tomorrow. I think tomorrow has finally come, so I would say that we're not the leaders of tomorrow, we're actually the leaders of today. So they should take every leadership opportunity that actually comes their way.
Thank you so much to our opinion leaders. For more opinions are being shared on our social media on tonight's topic. What can we ask the youth change in the African leadership? On Twitter, Peter Chris says, leadership is more than controlling and eating. Leaders should be good examples for those they lead. Leadership is an opportunity to bring change in the society, a change that will protect and develop the future of those that you're leading. African leaders should learn that the position they hold is a big responsibility, and those who vote for them are voting because they believe that they are supposed to be led to a better place. As the youth, we have a responsibility to bring change and be the change that is needed for Africa and the world. That was all we had for you today. I want to thank all our viewers for watching and contributing, and our opinion leaders that contributed to this discussion. Stay tuned for more on Direct 24. We'll be back to same time, same place. And that was Henriquet Mugabo. Take care.